Welcome back to the Workbench, where uncut and unedited, you can watch me try to make things. What I'm trying to make right now is a Wacky Races diorama. And I've got the two cars finished. So we built these from reissued old model kits. We got the Mean Machine and the compact Pussycat. But what we're actually working on now, let me set these out of the way, is the diorama base. Now we're also going to have a back wall, but right now we're just working on the base of the diorama. And yesterday, we kind of got it all painted in, including the hand look or the hand painted. It's meant to look hand painted start finish line. In fact, let me grab kind of what we're working from. This is the a background from the cartoon itself, and that's basically what we're trying to base this off of a little bit. I'm moving this strip back here. So we've got it painted in, and now what we need to work on is getting the grass put in. Oh, I need to mention in between, I did actually cut it down to size. So this is the actual size. If I let's just bring the compact Pussycat back over here, you can see kind of the size that it's gonna be at the end of the day here. So I've got it cut down now. And I also went in and kind of roughed up the edges of the grass here. It was just a solid line. In fact, if you didn't get to see it, check the playlist down in the description. You can get caught up on this entire build. But basically, we had a solid or a hard cut line right here in between the road and the grass. I kind of softened that up with the green, just using a dry brush a little bit. So I think now when we put our grass in over top of it, I think it'll give it a little bit better look. Let me look. I'm looking up in my monitor here to see what you guys are seeing. I think that looks... It's going to look pretty good, I think. Now, the other thing, or one setback I would say we had, is if you look over here, I started to do the rocks. I started to mold the rocks. Where's my rock mold at? I have lost it, but I started molding the rocks. Oh, here it is. So, I have my mock rock mold that I've used in the past. If you've seen video series before, I've used these before, and they work fine with the plaster that came with that kit. That came with that mold, which is now kind of old. And I think maybe that's the problem I had, because it's very soft and just brittle. It didn't, the rocks did not form up very well. And again, I think it's because of the age. Here's the age of the plaster and whatnot. And I've had it in this can for a while. You can, you can see it in here. I think it's just, I don't know. Or maybe I just had it too thin. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it one more try with what I have in here, what I have kind of left to use here. But at the same time, I'm not going to use this at all. I thought about I could try to make this work, but I want to do it right. I really want to do this diorama right. So I'm just going to move that mess out of the way. We'll end up throwing that in the trash. I'm going to try to form them again using this here. But I think also this evening, I think I'm gonna go buy some new stuff too. It needs to be, I need to replace it anyway. So I'll buy some new just in case this doesn't work again. Let me move this out of the way, because what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and try and do a new rock pour. You know what I need to do is clean this out a little bit. Let me grab a rag. Let's get it. Oh, yeah, see how it was just kind of, it ended up real chalky and crumbly. I don't know if maybe my mix was just off a little bit, or I wouldn't think this stuff would get old. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened, to be honest with you. We'll try again. And like I said, otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and just get some new. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's good to just start fresh. I've used this many times, so it might be time to replace it, but let's go ahead and just give it a try. Let me see if I can get it really a good, nice and mixed up. It seems to be the right consistency. All you do is just add water. It's not some complicated recipe. But let's go ahead and pour this in and see kind of what we can do. I've got it on maybe it's on the tooth. I don't think it's too thick. Fill her up here. Like I said, if you've seen some of the series I've done in the past, like when I did a dinosaur diorama, this is exactly what I used. And by the way, it worked just fine. It worked real well. Now let's kind of smear that over. See, it is kind of lumpy and whatnot. I think it's just I think it's gone off on us here. But a lot of times you kind of do this number and see how it'll bring the air bubbles. See the air bubbles coming to the top, and then I'll just kind of smudge it over. Just like so. See more air bubbles coming up. You want to get those air bubbles out of it because that will make it brittle. One more time, I'll just kind of do this here. Yeah, I think that's got them all. I don't see any more coming up. Let me throw that in the bucket. And then we'll let this dry up again till tomorrow. I was hoping to get to paint the rocks today because we kind of done a custom color we were going to use for them. But I want to make sure they're right. I don't want a brittle diorama. I don't want a diorama that's going to fall apart, on us immediately. So let me bring the base back over. I'll move the rock out of the way. Set it over there out of the way so that it can dry up. Hopefully by tomorrow. We'll see how it is. Again, I think I'll go this evening and buy some new plaster and all that to mold these rocks with, because we definitely have to have the rocks back here and the little shrubs. The shrubs are no problem, but I do want to start laying the grass, and it does kind of create a little bit of a problem laying the grass back here, because what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to lay the grass down, and then I'll have to cut maybe a slit, open it up to put the rocks in, or actually I think what I'll end up doing is laying the rocks first, and then just cutting spots out around the grass to try to lay it over top of the rocks. But what we can do is go ahead and lay it in on this side and see how it's going to look. And I'm trying to think the best way to do this. I think, again, I kind of want to feather the edge out. I did this yesterday too. I think this is the piece I did it with because it looks like it's already got a little feathering. I just kind of want to rough it up a little bit. Yeah, I wish it was the length of the whole thing, because we're going to have, so this side I definitely need to rough out because I'm going to have to blend too. So I'm going to cut this down. I want to cut it oversized. Like so, and then I'm going to cut another here because we're going to have to try to blend these two together, if that makes sense. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So where these meet, over here somewheres, we're going to have to kind of blend them together. Like, I don't want a hard cut line here. So we're going to have to kind of blend it together like so. Yeah, it does blend together pretty well, pretty easily. Okay, that's going to work just fine. Okay, so let's start. Let me grab, I have some cheap junk brushes right up here. Let me grab one. This one should be fine, because what I want to do is lay glue in. Let me see, I think this is my better. I use this tacky glue because it dries clear, and it's really good stuff. The original, I think it's just called Original Tacky Glue. Who is it? By Alines? I don't know. You see it all the time, but it really does work well. Let me try and clear this up. You do want, which I didn't, you kind of usually want to keep your bottle stored upside down. Otherwise it takes forever to get the glue to come out. In fact, I've got it. It's gummed up. Let me puncture that. Let me get the dried up glue out of there. It doesn't fail. It doesn't matter what glue you use. It'll definitely dry up the tip of the bottle. Let's see if that's going to come out. I think we're going to have to let it sit upside down just for a bit here. Okay. Well, this makes for good viewing. You want to watch me try to glue that won't come out of the bottle? Give me just a second here. But other than that, once we have the grass in, rocks in, and all that, which it won't be, as long as our rocks mold up, it actually won't. It's actually not hard. It'll be very simple. Then it's just a matter of painting the back, and we're done. I bet for the most part we're done. I just got to run the wires from the mean machine to the back, and then make the little support for the compact Pussycat, and we're finished. Let me set this to the side. I think I have another bottle that might work a little quicker for us. Is this one? I have this small bottle. Okay, yeah, we're getting some glue out of this one. Okay, should have gone to this one in the first place. So I'm just going to touch. Ooh, I don't want to go. Well, I can go ahead and we'll go ahead and do the whole thing. And now let's store that upside down, and I'm just going to use this brush to try to get this glue. This stuff's pretty thick. I could, I should have, and probably should have, you could water it down. But for this, if I was doing it, if we were flocking this, I would absolutely just water it down and then, and then flock over top of it. But we're just kind of gluing down something that has its own structure. In other words, it holds itself together. So I think this will be fine. I don't think we need, we'll use the glue at its full strength, I guess you could say. And mainly, I want to make sure to get the edge. I want to work the glue to the edge because that's where I want to make sure that this is adhered. I don't mind if it's a little loose on the roadside. In fact, that might not be a bad thing. Okay, just like so. Let me move some stuff and I'll clean this brush. That's another nice thing is that glue. This glue will clean up with water. And now let's set this in place. And again, I'm just going to let it overhang. And then let's go through, and I'm going to actually give it a good push down here. We can always go back and kind of trim up anything that's a little too much, like so. And then I need to go ahead and get the second one, the second strip put in place. I think I'm going to use this side. I need to kind of pull it out like this. Like I said, this will get trimmed, but I just don't want a hard cut line. I want it to be a little bit frayed, hit, on the road side again. Let's do the same thing. Let's push it down. And then we'll just kind of blend that together, which, yeah, that looks fine, I think. And then again, the glue will dry clear. I can go ahead and let me cut this. I have a lot of excess here, so let me just cut that off. And we'll let this dry, fully dry, and then I'll trim the edges. Yep, and I think that, let's see, what's it look like to, how's that look to you guys in the monitor? Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna look pretty good. Like I said, once it's dry, right now you can kind of see the glue behind it, but that'll go away. And I'm still debating whether this should get like a satin clear coat also, just like the cars did. I'm not sure how that'll work out, but it might be something we do. I might do some experiments out in the garage with the different materials and see what it looks like. In fact, you know what? That's something I'll do this evening also, is I'm going to go ahead and I will do that. I'm going to take a board. I have the cutoffs of this. I'll paint it with the gray. I'll paint it with the green. I'll glue this down on it. Then I'm going to shoot it with satin clear, just like we use on the cars. And we'll see what that looks like. See if that gives it kind of, I like the look it's given the cars as far as making it look like it's something coming off of the TV screen, out of the cartoons. We'll see what that looks like. It might look awful. It might just make a gummed up, horrible mess. I really have no idea. But really, there's only one way to find out. And that's by doing it. So I think I'll run that experiment for us. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry up. I really wanted to be able to do the rocks today. They just turned into a crumpled mess. I don't know if you guys can see them up here. I can pull them back down. They're just a mess, and they're just falling apart even more. I think I essentially made chalk instead of a hard rock. But we'll get that fixed. So tomorrow we should be able to paint rocks and then get this side done. And with that side done, the base is done. In fact, with that side done, we can go ahead and mount the cars. Once I figure out, I'll run the experiment with the satin clear. And then we'll, hopefully, if everything goes right with the rocks, and it will, because I'm just, like I said, I'm just going to buy some new plaster, so it won't be a problem. So tomorrow we should be getting the base done, which means then we can paint the background, which I did, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned it. I cut the background here, the background board at the same time. So this board is essentially going to get painted up like this background here. It's going to have the little mountains, the big mountains, the little hills, and then the painted in rocks. And then, of course, in front of it, it'll have three-dimensional rocks. Anyways, that board is painted. And what I did to help support it is I cut some little gussets or some angles. So I'm gonna, we'll mount these in here. Can you guys see? Hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Basically, they're just little triangle gussets. They'll go here, and then they'll get painted in also to match the foreground and background. I'm going to help them somewhat disappear, but we're going to have these kind of gussets in here to help hold the back up. And I think it'll look fine. It almost makes it look like a movie set. Having these, like you have this holding up the back, you have these holding up the background. In fact, I don't know, it might could have looked really cool. I'm now thinking out loud as if we'd actually done this. My idea was to do the background like a painted background from a animation cell. But what might have been really cool is if we had done this to look like a background from a movie set. In other words, it has the supports around it, and it's just the canvas background that you see, like sometimes you would see in cartoons or in old movies. And that's something to think about. But I think we'll just go with this. I think this will probably give the right impression, like so. Once that's painted in. In fact, let's finish. Let's do our little outro with the cars in place, because this is something we also have to figure out is the exact placement of the cars, which will probably be something like that. Oh, and before I forget, we've also got to finalize the smoke, and that's something I'm going to look at tonight too, because I'd rather do molded smoke with what's that sculptable plastic stuff? I'm drawing a blank on the name of it. It's like plastic sculpt or something to that effect. I can't remember what it's called, but that might look. I mean, we can always do just the cotton, cotton balls pulled up. But to me, sometimes that starts to look a little too science fairish. So I might use. I think I'm going to do sculpey. What is that stuff called? Anyways, I think I might sculpt the smoke coming off the wheels, and then of course she's going to be up in the air like this. And I think it's gonna look pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know about you guys. Let me know what you think down in the description. Hit that like button. It does help. Helps up the channel if you hit the like button. Like and subscribe. I don't know. I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully we get this base finished up tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Do all those things you do on YouTube. Bye-bye.